When Prince Harry and his social mountaineer wife Meghan merrily quit Britain for a lucrative new life in the California sun, their best-laid plans revolved around the popularity they assumed would be inevitable in their adopted home country. 4 years later, the mass adulation the gruesome twosome always expected is practically non-existent, with Americans far preferring Harry's sibling rival brother William and Meghan's nemesis sister-in-law Kate, the Princess of Wales. So, why have US citizens turned against the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? Is it because, as Donald Trump said, they broke the Queen's heart? I think they hurt her bad. Is it because, after arriving on the West Coast, they sat down with Oprah Winfrey and churned out 17 lies while unfairly accusing Harry's royal relatives of racism? Is it because this pair of virtue-signalling alleged environmentalists so enthusiastically endorse net zero green zealotry while flying everywhere on private jets? Is it because people don't tend to appreciate privileged multi-millionaire hypocrites imperiously telling them, do as we say, not as we do? Whatever the reason, behind the gilded gates of the dynamic duo's Montecito mansion are things still golden in the Golden State? Not according to a growing number of royal commentators who predict that Meghan faces a solo future ruling the roost all on her own, and that unhappy Harry will soon be heading home to Britain. While the ambitious Ms. Markle busies herself with her Netflix cooking show and lifestyle website American Riviera Orchard, her sidekick husband seems more directionless than ever. The prince's American dream may not quite have turned into a nightmare, but it certainly appears to have derailed. His involvement with the Invictus Games is transatlantic, and there is no word on his Netflix project, an uneagerly awaited series about the obscure world of rich, chinless wonders, horse sport, polo. And even his passionate commitment to military veterans is under fire after he ignored the protests of an American war hero's mother to accept a prestigious honour. Mary Tillman was aghast when she heard that a British aristocrat had been chosen to receive the Pat Tillman Award, named after her former football star son who died serving his country in Afghanistan. Insisting the gong is for unsung volunteers whose work for veterans does not garner the publicity that Harry naturally attracts, Mary stormed, "I am shocked as to why they would select such a controversial and divisive individual to receive the award." Harry was reported to be stunned by the stinging criticism, but not so stunned that at the televised ceremony he didn't step up to bask in all the glory. Surely an unforgivable mistake. And while I can personally vouch for the welcoming kindness of the great American people to foreigners who choose to live in their midst, they quite understandably don't like outsiders telling them what's wrong with their nation. Look into the Second Amendment, and the right to bear arms is well worth respecting. It's about ultimate power resting with the individual rather than the state, and I'm all for that. But where the famously unintellectual Harry went badly wrong was to dismiss America's excellent First Amendment, enshrining freedom of speech and the free press, as bonkers. Apart from its extreme rudeness to his hosts, the Duke's dim declaration betrayed a profound ignorance of the USA's sacred foundation stone. As TV star Meghan Markle emphatically told him, "We fought a war in 1776, so we don't have to care what you say or think." Well said, Meghan, but some of us didn't have to fight a war to reach the same conclusion. Well, guys, let's first of all talk about, we're filming this the night after, incredibly, Harry actually went through with it and accepted the Pat Tillman Award against the express wishes of his impressive mother, Mary, who just said, this isn't for a British aristocrat. This is for people who work quietly behind the scenes. This is wrong, and I don't want him to take the award. He ignored it to bask in the glory. Oh, look at me. And then he had the temerity to start talking about the similarities between Pat Tillman and his mother and Harry and his mother, Princess Diana. Absolutely disgusting, I thought, Samara.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we said last week, you know, he could have just said, no, I'm not going to take the award. I don't think I'm deserving of it. And he sort of acknowledged in his speech that he wasn't deserving of it. He said, oh, I dedicate this to all the Invictus Games members. I stand for you. Obviously, his PR person told him to say that, you know, as a deflection. But we are right in thinking, no, it wasn't just the media that said, oh, don't accept this award. You're not worthy. It was Pat Tillman's mother who said that. It's not just anyone. And the fact that he disrespected that, Meghan got her glam on. They were all getting ready to hit the red carpet, knowing that Pat Tillman's mother said, please don't accept this award. It is the most disrespectful and devilishly fame-hungry thing that he's done so far.
Yeah, Simon, there's a petition, 75,000 people, many of them military veterans, signed it in America to beg Harry not to take this award because Pat Tillman's mother didn't want him to. Admiral Lord West, our former Navy chief here, said, come on, Harry, just don't do this. This is wrong. He said, you really should think about this. And Harry and his wife sat there beaming like a couple of Hollywood...
When Pat Tillman's mum, Mary, comes out and says, I don't think this is great. I think what she highlighted...
She didn't say that. She said a lot worse than that. She said, I am shocked. Such a divisive individual.
I think what she highlighted...
She didn't say, I don't think this is great.
I think what she
said, I am shocked.
She was literally begging him.
I think
begging him not to take it.
I think what she highlighted was the fact that he is such a divisive individual in this area, and so therefore the amount of publicity he shines on that award in a positive way also detracts from it as taking it as well.
Yeah, that was completely negative. And, you know, the one thing, you know, that you can vaguely respect Harry for, and by the way, my respect for him plummets by the day.
He's upset by that, by the way. He's upset by that, by the way.
Good, you idiot.
First you say I'm not a spokesperson for them, then you speak for Harry. I'm so confused by you sometimes, Simon. I'm confused.
Military veterans are furious with him for this. They're furious. How dare he? Really?
Yeah, you say military veterans.
They are. I know one last night.
You know one?
No. I know of one last night here in London, an American veteran, military veteran, who was at a big gathering of distinguished people saying he could not believe that Harry went. What is the matter with this ginger idiot?
But there's
really, Simon, what is the matter with him? What is the matter with him?
That's one person.
That's one person,
and
also 75,000 people signing a petition out of God knows how many.
Come on!
Out of God knows how many.
Oh right, you're going to write that off, are you?
Out of how many veterans?
You're going to write that off, are you?
Out of how many veterans?
70,000 people.
70,000 people.
75,000.
75,000 people.
And rising.
Out of millions of veterans is not a sort of a strong enough argument for me to sort of say.
You're joking.
Do something.
Did you see the pictures of them last night? I mean, they're in the papers this morning, or at least on the online editions. They look. Him and Meghan look like a couple of absolute industrial scale Olympic class idiots. They really do. Sitting there beaming with their stupid award. Honestly, it really makes me angry. I cannot believe it. What's wrong with him? What goes on in his head?
I think sort of there's a slight damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's promoted Invictus, and at the expense...
Well, he's spoilt that as well, hasn't he? I'm all for the Invictus Games, but he's undermined it with this.
One of the things, though, that kind of I can take issue with is that I don't think it's for us to criticise Harry and how he wants and how he wants
my job.
And how he wants to talk about his mum and how he wants to link his mum with Mary Tillman, if he feels
did he ask Mary Tillman about that? Wait a second, Simon. Did he ask Mary Tillman about that? In fact, ESPN never even asked her if it was OK for Harry to get the award. That's why she's furious. She's also furious because he's the wrong person. How dare he go up and compare Mary's relationship with her son with his relationship with his mother when he knows nothing about Mary and Pat Tillman?
How dare he do that?
I think he's
what kind of a man is he?
I think he's perfectly within his right
Oh, come on. The woman's been through enough.
Come on,
The woman has been through
Simon.
enough. The fact that he completely disrespected
Well, I think
her
there's-
wishes is very valid,
I
Simon.
think there are worse people to be compared against than Princess Diana.
The whole thing is really sad because I think that Invictus Games is what he's getting acknowledged for getting this award for, and a lot of the work that he did when he was in the royal family. And I think the whole thing is very tragic because he's still obviously almost not profiteering, but sort of coasting off the success of the royal family by accepting these awards. There's nothing that he's done. No, there's nothing that he's done since he moved to Montecito that would guarantee an award.
Well, Simon, this is the thing, as Samara alludes to. This guy with the red head, the hair that's thinning fast, is going to be bald soon. That'll be funny, won't it? He trades off his mother's memory, and that's a disgrace.
Yeah.
I don't think that...
Come on. He barely opens his mouth. He goes, Diana, my mother.
I do not
Get
think
over it, you 40.
No, that's really, really unfair. You never get over the loss of a parent.
Stop droning on about it.
You may get used to the grief, but you don't get over the loss. And I don't think any of us are in a position to tell him how he needs to get over and how he needs to grieve. Now, you can be angry, and
I am angry about this.
What a
as you might have
surprise!
shown.
What a
I'm
surprise!
very
You
angry.
are angry about the Pat Tillman Award, and as I said last week, and I'm prepared to concede
fair
this
enough,
week,
fair enough.
and I did say that.
Yeah, you did.
The optics on it aren't great. His job as an ambassador for Invictus, though, is to promote Invictus. A little sensitivity, a little thought, a little decorum would not be amiss in this situation, would not be remiss in this situation. But actually, he's gone there and done that, and I think that he has to kind of lean into it and accept it. If he's not going to hand it back, he has to go up, he has to take it, and he has to go and mention her and address that. And I think he did that. I'm not defending. I am not defending him accepting that award.
I mean, he's really picking up some great awards. He's also a legend of aviation. Yeah, my arse. Time now for a bad ad.
My diploma instant full cream milk today. Just add water, stir a little right away. Drink it down, you know it's good for you. Full of vitamins and minerals and protein too. With Diploma instant milk you can't go wrong. Yes, Diploma instant milk will make you big and strong. Diploma, it's full cream. Diploma instant milk in the red Billy can.
I'd always wondered what the point of Australia was, but now I know it is to supply us with these ridiculous adverts. That's just a joke, Australians, just a joke. Great country, great country.
Yeah, she's getting angry.
Not everyone who was born there is great, of course. Now, Samara, tell us what you think about this advert. Do you have real milk in Australia, or is it all powdered?
You'd think with the amount of cattle and cows that we would, but no, apparently it's all powdered and out of a can. I mean, I don't know. That was the stuff that you would take on camp and sort of like begrudgingly sort of drink. And I don't know. I have traumatizing memories from that.
I don't drink milk.
That's a triggering ad.
Drink milk at all?
I just think milk is disgusting. I think every
Of
human,
course you do.
every human animal, every
Have you
animal,
talked to your mother about this?
every animal is weaned.
I've hated you from an early age, Mum.
Every animal is weaned. Every animal is weaned off milk, and not only are we not weaned off milk, we actually drink the milk that is meant for another animal. I think it's weird. It's disgusting.
Are you a vegan?
No, powdered milk.
Just drink powdered milk.
I'm not.
That's the problem.
Do they drink kangaroo milk in Australia? No, I'm just wondering.
No, that would be, I think that would be a real issue, national issue.
So you don't like milk, but we can now recommend to you Diploma.
Well, thank you.
Delicious.
Thank you. In the big red Billy can.
I like it.
Right, that's enough of Diploma powdered milk. How much would that cost?
Probably like $2.
$2.
Yeah, $2, £1.
In our money, 5p. Australian dollars are worth about I don't know, a farthing or something.
This is actually
That's
true.
me, doesn't it? Right, I think you've got some of my fan mail coming in, haven't you? This is the bit where we look through all the messages that you kindly sent. Once again, I always say this, but we really appreciate you getting in touch, getting involved.
Okay, so, Simon, you are like Harry telling us to look it up. You have no receipts for your arguments. Who is pulling your strings, says Darlene. Kevin, I adore you.
Darlene! Darlene, what an excellent woman you sound like. Bang on the money, by the way. What do you got, Samara?
I rarely, if ever, agree with Simon's view. However, I really wish you would not call him Simple Simon. It's irritating playground humour. I still watch you, Kevin, but Simon deserves a little bit of respect. That's from Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much for tuning in. But if you're looking to avoid playground humour, you kind of come to the wrong place. But I take your point, so we won't call him Simple Simon anymore. We'll be Simple Simon. What have you got next, Simple Simon?
This is from CNK53. Simon, we appreciate you. You show how to be calm and above the fray when rudely attacked by what's his name?
That would be me. I'm the host of What Just Happened. What you got, Samara?
Alicia has said, Simon, I doubt Thomas Markle likes you either. Simon, take off your blinders. Harry and his wife have behaved horribly and sold both their families down the river. Very sensible, Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia. And Thomas Markle, both Thomas Markles, we do appreciate you tuning in. And Thomas Markle, the younger, you got to come on my show. When I called you a dope dealer, there's nothing bad about that because I know you're a legal dope dealer. So I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. Come on my show, let's have a chat.
I think the word dealer is superfluous in that sentence. But anyway, here we go.
The glasses go on.
You see? How rude.
Almond Hastings says, Simon is the only one that keeps people watching this show. He keeps some balance against the bias and a lot of humour. We can only hope the constant insults are done in fun. Almond Hastings, I don't know which camera. Almond Hastings, the insults hurt, but I can rise above them because I am the bigger man.
Laura says, Samara, you are the perfect person to represent us Aussies on Kevin's show. Your down-under banter is refreshing, and Meghan Markle could learn a lot from you. That's true. You speak our sentiments on the toxic duo. I reckon the lovely Simon eventually will come around and see our sentiments too. And Kevin, I literally see smoke coming out of your ears during the monologue. Priceless, mate.
I was very angry during our Prince Harry discussion. Who was that from?
Laura.
Laura, really well written. That's the sort of thing I'd write, down under banter. Thank you. Excellent. Thanks for all your messages. More later. Time for a real break now. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
It's great that TV's sizzling 19th century sex drama Bridgerton is a steamy source of titillating entertainment for millions of fans all over the world. Personally, watching actors grunt their way through 6 tawdry minutes of pretend passion is my idea of tedious hell. But I admire a hit, and Netflix's Regency romp is a small screen success on a massive scale. Turning viewers into voyeurs has clearly worked to treat. Congratulations to everyone involved. I mean it. But for me, it's not the soft porn prurience that makes this oldie-worldy bump and grind saga impossible to enjoy. It's the colourblind casting. Golda Rocherville is clearly a brilliantly talented actress, but as one of Bridgerton's main stars, she plays Queen Charlotte, who, unlike her, was white. In fact, this pale lady was born in Germany, where she was known as Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. So, for the record, portraying her as black is historically inaccurate. And, as far as I'm concerned, therein lies the problem. Look, I get it. There's nothing wrong with a costume drama packed with thespians of colour. They're not playing themselves, so why shouldn't they take on the roles of characters who back in the early 1800s would, without a doubt, have been white? No reason at all if you're able to suspend your disbelief. If you can forget this jarringly unrealistic version of England's royal court 300 years ago. Sadly, I find that difficult to do. Just as I would struggle with a white Othello. Shakespeare meant his mythical king to be black. Why defy the bard? When Britain's Channel 5 cast the excellent Jodie Turner-Smith as Henry VIII's doomed wife Anne Boleyn, many of us were soon thinking, fine performance, shame about the wrong colour. Now the BBC is all set to enter the fray after acquiring from America's CBS Studios a drama about the Battle of Hastings that they're calling, and I quote, a bold and fresh take on a story that has endured for nearly 1,000 years. The lavish 8-part series called King and Conqueror is to feature several black actors in starring roles playing Anglo-Saxons in 1066, when, as historians have pointed out, Britain was far from stale, but certainly predominantly pale. To put it bluntly, the population was white. The Beeb insists its newly purchased production will bring King Harold and William the Conqueror to life. But for those of us who remain blind to colourblind casting, rather than bringing history's most iconic story to life, this race-twisting spectacular is likely to kill it stone dead. As historian Dr. Zaria Marsani told the Telegraph newspaper, some of us, including people of colour, grew up thinking actors ought to look like the characters they played. My point precisely, the good doctor continued. Hugely confusing. It's absolutely crazy that they've applied this colour blindness to a period when Britain was at its least multicultural. Does this mean that me, Dr. Marsani, and all the others who believe accurate depictions of the past make historical dramas more plausible and authentic are a bunch of racists? Meanwhile, is it valid to wonder why colourblind casting only seems to go in the black-white direction and never the other way round? Or is that racist too? Just asking. I'm glad that so many people have no problem with all of this, but some of us do. And in our brave new woke world, no one seems to care. Over to you, Simon, I think.
Wow. So it's really difficult. I'm one of the few people who didn't think that Idris Elba should play Bond. I don't think there should be a black Bond, just like I don't think there should be a white Shaft. I think that some stories, they need to be contextualised in sort of the arena or the environment in which they've been created. And because of James Bond's history, if you want to rewrite James Bond and pretend that it's actually a name that somebody inherits every time they inherit the number 007, that's different. But I just don't think... But then it's kind of like
you get my point.
Yeah,
it's not about being racist, and you know, and fair play to Bridgerton, fair play to colourblind casting. Millions of people. It's called suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
quickly kind of forgot that half the class were actors of colour. But for me, I look at it, I think that's supposed to be a Regency court. 300 years ago in England. And it looks like Harlem. And therefore, this isn't working for me. I find it really jarring. And it's not a race thing. It's just that it means that it looks all inauthentic. Why would you cast, for example, Samara, as Channel 5 did, Anne Boleyn, not a black person, but with a black actress? I mean, it's just such a weird thing to do. Why?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, here's the thing. It's actually more racist to be rewriting history in this very flowery way and pretending that nothing actually went wrong in the past and sort of saying, oh, it's fine, we'll just cast black actors and then we won't actually shine light on the stories of what actually happened during that time, which was the fact that in a lot of these Anglo-Saxon settings in Bridgerton, the black people were cooking in the kitchen, they were under the ships as slaves. It was terrible. And the fact that we don't actually make shows about that and then cast black actors about that and shine the light on those stories is actually the issue.
Well, the interesting thing you say there is, and I'm going to take issue with you there. They do make films about slaves with lots of black actors in them. But Simon, you never see, Michael Caine or George Clooney playing black slaves, do you?
No, and though famous...
But you see lots of black actors playing white characters.
Yeah,
so why doesn't it go in the other direction?
I don't know, but
lost for words.
Famously, Laurence Olivier blacked up and played Othello. We were talking about Othello earlier.
Well, it used to be almost exclusively the way it was.
If you go back far enough, in Shakespeare's time, all the roles were played by men. So Romeo and Juliet would have been Romeo and Romeo. Now, to take the... I don't have a problem with Bridgerton. Bridgerton is just a drama, and nobody talks about the colourblind casting in Bridgerton. They talk about the sex.
I just did.
They talk about the sex in Bridgerton. You're one of the few people who's kind of looked on the colourblind casting.
I know a lot of people just can't get it.
I think I don't have a problem. If it's out-and-out drama, and I think it's got to be nuanced. I don't think we can be binary about this. I don't think we can say colourblind casting here, but not here. Colourblind casting there. Sorry. I don't think we can say we shouldn't have colourblind casting. I just think it should be done with some sort of sense of nuance and context. And for the most part, I think it's a really good thing that if the script is good and you can get the story across, I don't care whether the person is black, white, tall, short, disabled, non-disabled, whatever.
For millions of us, I know it's not just me, it's really jarring. So Bridgerton, probably for me, I like costume dramas, I like historical dramas. It's completely ruined by this casting.
Get over yourself.
Well, they don't give a f*** about me.
Yeah, get over yourself.
No,
it's
what do you
fine.
mean get over me? It's ruined it for me.
Well,
by the way,
boo-hoo.
by the way, I don't want to see shit actors shagging for 6 minutes either. So that's another problem.
It's too long for you, Kev, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jealousy.
I mean, it's so unrealistic. Whoever had sex for 6 minutes? Hey? What, you mean somebody did?
What's interesting is that what's happened in Hollywood is they've said, oh, if you're not gay, then you can't really play a gay role. And if you're not disabled, then you can't play a disabled role. So I'm really wondering where this fits into that, because it kind of goes against what a lot of the wokery and a lot of the casting is typically doing. They've been very staunch about people who actually come from those backgrounds actually playing those roles. But then when it comes to this, that all flies out the window.
But I think again,
I would love to.
But I think again, it's about nuance. It's about nuance, isn't it? You're not going to cast a quadriplegic as Usain Bolt, are you?
But
well, you will.
That's not what we were actually talking about. I was talking about they want now only gay actors for roles that are gay. There have been multiple things you can read about that, and that's how they're casting as well. But they're not doing it when it comes to this. So it's a little bit confusing.
It's true. The argument is all over the place. So what we're talking about is a kind of wokery here. It is, as I say, you never have white actors playing black characters. Martin Luther King would never be played by a white actor. Nor would Othello.
But I think those people have been, haven't they? We've never had a Middle Eastern actor play Jesus. It was always kind of blonde, blue eyes, Ted Neely in Jesus Christ Superstar, or whoever it was. Robert Powell. Not that he was blonde in Jesus of Nazareth.
I think we're not talking about we're talking about Hollywood going forward.
So yeah, but I'm sort of saying, so moving forward, I don't think it's going to change overnight. And also, why would you want to see white actors playing black characters? You guys have got enough problems
why would we
saying...
want to see black characters playing white actors?
The pandering is not progressive. It's disrespectful.
If you ask that question, why do we want to see black actors playing white characters?
I think that
you can't say, why do you want to see white actors but black actors playing white characters? Why do you want to see white actors?
But I'm not sitting here saying I want to see that. I'm sitting here saying it doesn't bother me, but you guys seem to be sitting here going... You guys seem to be sitting here going, why is it happening the other way? Well, do you want it to happen the other way? Is that what you want?
No, it's actually more...
So do you want... If it is going to keep happening in the black black-white direction, then yes, I do want to see it in the other.
Okay,
because otherwise, that's racism.
It's not racism.
That is racism.
It's not racism.
Because you're treating the black actors preferably to white actors.
You're treating people differently.
It's about
treating people differently is not racism. Treating people or stopping people having opportunity, or treating people as though another set of people have less.
But
lesser is racism. This isn't racism.
Well, if you have a narrative in which it is assumed or everybody agrees it's absolutely fine for black actors to play white characters, but we can't have white actors playing black characters, that's racism.
But
that is racism.
I think we have had that up until now, and I think that... Look, I don't think it's racist. I think it's sort of a...
It must go in both directions.
I think we're actually glossing over just a lot of stuff. I take a slightly different direction to Kevin.
That's what we do on this show. We gloss over things.
I think that we're trying to satisfy a very woke audience by pandering to some people and making content that's wildly inaccurate and misrepresents the time that actually it served. And we're doing a lot of white narratives, like obviously Bridgerton is about the upper class, but we're shoehorning in black actors because we're not actually telling a lot of the other stories that we should be.
Bridgerton is about young, beautiful people having a lot of sex to contemporary music. And the colour, what colour they are is so far down.
Why would you?
Far down the list. That's not what it's about at all.
It's not. Millions of people like me will take one look at scene one and go, "You're not Queen Charlotte."
And it's not
to the person in bed with her.
Yeah, sorry. Somebody probably will be, actually.
And you know something? If you turn off the TV because of that, more fool you, because you're missing a whole load of fun.
No, look, I would love not to turn it off. I just find it jarring, and I can't get through more than 10 minutes. I go, this just isn't working for me. It's ridiculous. It's like casting, getting Sidney Poitier or Denzel Washington to play Henry VIII. It wouldn't work for me. Am I wrong?
Well, they put Ray Winston playing Henry VIII, who is white, who's white but had a really, really Cockney accent, and they went, we just want somebody else playing the role who brings a different.
I don't think there's an equivalent. You know there is no equivalent.
Who brings a different nuance to it.
I don't know how you don't find that it's disrespectful to just put a black actor in a role that was clearly kind of meant for a more, and then say, oh, racism solved. We rewrote it. It's all good.
We're going to tie this up now, but it's the direction of travel that worries me. Why does it only go in one direction? And also, producers of these dramas should accept that millions of it just doesn't work for us.
Is it because?
Why are you cutting us out?
Is it?
Just go back to the tradition. Anyway, shut up, Simon. It's time for a bad ad.
Guys, get ready for Australia's hottest new entertainment sensation, Bad Girls Australia. Live on stage with their hot new production, Girls, Girls, Girls. In a blaze of glory, 6 of the hottest girls direct from the Gold Coast will turn up the heat for your visual pleasure. Bad Girls Australia. When they're good, they're very good. But when they're bad, they're sensational. Don't miss Bad Girls Australia.
On Friday, February the 14th, Valentine's Day. So shall we go over? And
Kevin, have I told you just how much I love Australia?
Yeah.
Now you do.
Your country's
So
growing on me.
Yeah, that 24-hour flight looks quite appealing now.
Do you know the Bad Girls of Australia? Do you know? Have you heard of them? They're like kind of female
Yeah,
Chesterton.
I remember, my parents tried to cover my eyes when we went past the signs. But they also had a Bad Boys one as well, I do remember. So it was very... No, it was
equality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, we reached it long ago in Australia. So,
Kevin turned on his TV and saw Bad Boys Australia and was like, no, I can't watch this.
Oh, it's all right, there's some women.
Well, you wouldn't want to book a ticket to the wrong show. That's, you're trying to go to one and then you end up going to the other.
You prefer to go to Bad Boys of Australia.
Hey, listen, listen, it's colourblind casting as far as I'm concerned.
And also sexuality blind sex shows. It's time for a real break, I think. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to What Just Happened. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan. He's Simon London, and she's Samara Gill. Sorry, simple Simon
Cerebral
London.
Simon.
Cerebral Simon.
Cerebral Simon.
Yeah,
Look
sure.
it up, Kevin.
Yeah, sure. And pigs fly. Right. This is the quotes serious bit of the show. Close quotes. We're going to have a discussion about what a woman is, I guess. We have a new Labour government, a socialist government in Great Britain here. We're loving it so far. 7 days of sheer hell. Country's already going straight down the shitter. Great. Anyway, they've appointed a woman called Annalise Dodds. She's the Women's Minister, so it's her job to look after the rights of women, to make sure that women are treated properly. And it transpires she can't define what a woman is. She was asked on the BBC, what is a woman? She said there are many definitions. It depends what the context is. What a load of crap. A woman is an adult female human. Why can't Labour politicians like Annalise Dodds just say that? What is wrong with them, Samara?
There's a lot wrong with this, actually, because it's a slippery slope when you can't define a woman and then suddenly you start implementing policies that include about 1% of the population and disregard about 99% of the female population. And, it's happened in Australia where we have a Labour government that's a couple years ahead of us over in the UK. And they've implemented things into hospitals where now you can't say breastfeeding, you have to say chest feeding. You can't say mother, you have to say birth giver. And, we've it has happened now in Australia where we've gone in that direction, and it's very hard to cling those rights back now that they've been lost.
Well, we've been going in that direction for a long time. It wasn't so long ago that our Prime Minister, our new Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, couldn't define a woman at all, refused to define one. Rishi Sunak has had the same problem. The Tories are just as bad as Labour. I think it's an abuse of women's rights, and calling women people with cervixes or people who get pregnant is sexist. It's disgusting.
Look, I think that whenever sort of a new idea comes in and language wants to change and you want to be equal to something, it tends to go to an extreme before it comes back and it is sensible. However, I do have some sympathy with this idea of when people are put on the spot and asked to define things like what is a woman.
Someone who's
It's an adult female human. It's not difficult.
Also,
You jump down
she's the shadow minister. She was the shadow minister when she was asked that, so she should have known the definition.
I'm going to try and explain something. It's going to take a little while. Let me give you some context. Let me give you some context and see what you think. Okay, I'm adopted, and so my parents aren't my natural biological parents. If someone was to come in here and say, hands up anybody whose parents are still alive, and I put my hand up, how do you think I'd feel? Or would you ever lean across and go, actually, Simon, you shouldn't really put your hand up because that's not your real dad?
Kevin would probably
do that.
I think I'd do that.
It would just be a ridiculous...
I would enjoy
It would
doing
just be a ridiculous thing to do. It would be a ridiculous thing to do.
Yeah,
And I
but
think-
this is so different.
Let me finish. So in certain contexts, if somebody has undergone transitioning and they've been a woman for 20 years and somebody goes in and said, can we ask all the women to move to the front? Who's the person who's going to stand up and go, not you, you weren't really born a woman, you've not got blah, blah, blah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, but it's just ridiculous.
I'll do that.
Then you are being ridiculous.
No,
In that context, I'm ready to accept that person as a woman. If you're asking me, can that person... have they got a cervix?
Even though he's not a
have
woman,
they got a cervix? Even though she is not a woman.
He's not a
even
woman.
Though they don't
What do you
have.
mean she's not a
even
woman?
though
How do
they
you
don't-
say that?
Even though they don't have a cervix
He's not a
or
woman.
give kids or have kids, I wouldn't be arguing.
Why would you want to call a bloke she?
I wouldn't be arguing for them to be considered a woman under those circumstances, but I certainly wouldn't be being really horrible
I
to
don't give
somebody
look.
who for 20 years has been accepted and has passed as a woman just because.
You want to know the problem
make a
here?
point.
You want to know the problem? You want to know the problem here? It's this, right? I'm with you. You know, I'm a libertarian. You should be able to lead your life, live your life in whatever way makes you happy, as long as it doesn't affect anyone else. So you're a bloke and you want to dress up as a woman or even get the surgery and say I'm a woman, fine by me, you know, good, whatever makes you pleased. But they're pushing it to the extent they now, this is the trans community or the trans activists, a lot of trans people aren't like this, but the trans activists say, oh, you have to say that this former man is a woman and never ever was a man. You have to accept this man as a biological woman. That is not true. There is no such, you cannot change from a man to a woman. You can change from a man to a trans woman. That is different from a woman. So when they ask me, all of us, to accept something that is scientifically untrue, that is not a fact, they can off.
Okay, but I think the amount of people who do that is 0.001. There's a lot of trans people amongst us who are not going around saying, call me this, do that, do the other. It is a tiny, tiny minority.
Exactly. So therefore,
we must be careful.
Let the woman speak. Why should the tiny minority...
The biological woman.
Yeah, why should the
you are
tiny
a biological
minority
woman,
that you
aren't you?
talk about dictate what the majority has to abide by? You're saying, oh, it's such a small amount of people, it's such a small... Then why don't they just go by trans woman?
And by the way, when trans women say, oh, you have to address me as she and pronouns and all that.
I'm happy to do that.
You know, a lot of women's rights activists really don't like it, but I'll go along with it. I don't want to upset them. Fine, you want me to call you she and and all that, and
Just
Mrs. or Ms. I'll do it if you want, but don't overdo it. Don't then tell me that you are a woman, because
Kevin,
you're not. And here's another thing. The new Annalise Dodds, the Women's Minister's boss, is called Bridget Phillipson, and she is the Secretary of State for Equalities and Women. So she's the big noise in all of this. She believes that men with dicks should be allowed into women's safe spaces, into their lavatories, into their changing rooms, and so does the new Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, and I don't think they should be allowed in. I think women don't want it. Why would you overrule their wishes?
Look, we have a gender-neutral toilet at home,
Why?
and it works fine.
Oh, sorry,
and
at
it
home.
works fine. When we have guests round,
we have ladies and gents.
when we have guests round, we allow any gender to use our toilets, and we
Wow.
don't get into a problem with it.
What kind of a man are you?
I would say, listen, I have never been anywhere, and I doubt either of you two have, where somebody has said to you, hello, I'm a trans person and I am a biological man or biological woman. Nobody's saying that. It's a lot of noise in the ether, and we need to be able to, separate the wheat from
your
the...
home is not the same as a public debate,
separate
Simon,
It was a
okay.
joke. It was a joke. We need to separate...
Most people have gender-neutral
Yeah,
loos
That's
in
what
their
I mean.
Yes,
houses.
exactly.
Yeah,
So it was a joke. So
I
we're
like the
separating...
idea
Yeah,
of
but
having
look, it
different-
works just fine. but
Separating the wheat from the chaff. If somebody came
What?
along to me, a trans person, and said to me, "Hi, I'm a woman and my name is such and such," I go, "Gee," and then. And I want you to know that even though I don't have a cervix, and even though I don't have a cervix and I can't breastfeed, I am still a woman, Simon. I'd go, yeah, you need to maybe take a day off, because this is really...
Yeah,
that
just
doesn't
I've
seem
strapped
to
some
happen.
boobs on and
that
some fake
doesn't
eyelashes
seem to
now.
happen.
Look, gender-neutral loos, whoever asked for them. We had a really good system. It lasted for hundreds of years. We had certainly 150 years when public loos came along. We had gents and ladies. Nobody complained. It worked really well. Then suddenly, about 10 years ago, let's get rid of those. Nobody asked for it. Nobody voted for it. And suddenly we're supposed to share loos. Women don't like it. Men don't like it. Why the do we have to put up with it?
Kevin, these are the same people that are also saying that they want to be known as women. So why don't they just use the women's loo? Why does it have to be gender neutral? Why do we have to check?
Listen,
It's so binary in
Yes,
some stages, and then it's not binary at all.
And
I'm so furious about it. I've taken to pissing in the street. And on that bombshell, it's time for a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to What Just Happened. Greatest show ever made. Kevin O'Sullivan, that's me. He's Simon London. She's Samara Gill. What do you got, Samara?
All right, so Tam has said, OMG, I love you guys.
She's been listening to the show too much.
I don't laugh much, but you guys crack me up. You're all fair income. She's Australian.
I love the Australians.
None of this, no one has a sense of humour anymore. I absolutely love the banter.
And that, what's her name again?
Tam.
Tam, thanks for tuning in. Do you ever say fair dinkum?
Oh my God, no! I've had it completely.
But you used to. Yeah.
You'd be completely. No.
And I asked you this before. Are there
very bad.
Are there kangaroos in Sydney?
Yeah, we ride them to school.
You know marsupials. You know so they're their baby in that little pocket.
mammals with pouches.
You know the miracle of
Joey, the Joey.
The Joey.
miracle of evolution. Do you think it would have been better if humans, did it like that? A pouch and yeah.
Medic! Medic!
What you got, Simon?
I'm going to do two quickly here, because there's George O'Vanin who says, Simon, how much are you getting paid? That's the only way anybody would be nice to them. I'm sure that's Harry and Meghan. And Sandy Kirkwood, who says, thank you for reading out the comments. They have made me belly laugh.
Yeah, well,
so nice.
I love the comments, except for the ones that aren't very nice. Actually, I really like the ones that aren't nice about me. I like the way that people send in messages. Like on social media, in particular. Actually, these comments are better than this. But on social media, people like me, we get all these people saying, "You absolute bastard! You're awful! You're a terrible person! And you're an excuse for humanity." As if we're going to go, "Oh my God, I can't go on! I'm so crushed by this." Keep them coming, you. What do you got, Samara?
Debbie says, all three of you are more intelligent than 98% of Americans. All three?
That's not true.
I vote for Kevin as president and Samara as VP. Simon, you are adorable, but I don't know what to do with you. Wakey. Yeah. Oh, what a date. Wow, this person has really gone off on a tangent.
We read out her thing last time.
I think I've been Simon.
Yeah.
I think I've been Simon. That's from Debbie in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Thanks, Debbie. Scottsdale, Arizona. I love
shout out.
A lot of golf there. Lovely place. By the way, we're filming this the sort of morning after the night before when President Biden called President Zelensky, President Putin. What a disaster. How much longer are they going to let that guy go on? He's an embarrassment. Unbelievable. Then he goes on to refer to Kamala Harris as Vice President Trump.
Yeah.
He's got to go. This is a joke. Anyway, I digress.
The Colour Girl says, I love Simon, but can you please give him a chance to complete his opinions?
No, let's move on. Go on.
He is not as out of the loop or as wrong about most of what he attempts to express over Kevin and dull Samara, constantly talking over him and bashing him. I love the way she managed to get a little insult in there.
I'll take it.
So, dull Samara, what have you got?
People have said worse.
Simple Simon, dull Samara. Dull Samara is terrible, isn't it? You need just something, alliterative. She's going on me, though. Dulcimer. It sounds like a musical instrument.
Yeah,
like a dulcimer.
I used to play the dulcimer.
The dulcimer.
The dulcimer.
All right, dulcimer.
Anyway, off you go.
Dulcet tones. Navi.
God, you're boring.
You know nothing about Australia, Simon. And also, Flowerpot has said, let's be clear, Simon. Trump is only a convicted felon because he was set up by a corrupt opposition.
Well, that's true. But,
no, it's not true. Are you conspiracy MAGA morons out in force again?
How's that convicted felon thing going for you in terms of destroying Trump's chances? Let me tell you, the Democrats have already given up. They know.
If they don't replace Joe Biden, they will reap what they sow.
Well, the only person they can replace Joe Biden with is Kamala Harris, and she'll lose bigger than Biden. Yeah. They know they're going to lose this election. No one else will step into that role because the Democrats will lose $90 million of campaign funds. They don't want to do that. And people like Gavin Newsom and the gang, Gretchen and all those others who have been put forward, they're not going to do it, nor will Michelle Obama, because they fear they'll lose against Trump anyway. So it's going to be Joe or Kamala. Therefore, Trump wins. Time for some music. Well, that was the 1988 Euros squad. We're filming this just ahead of the big Euros final between England and Spain. So go the Three Lions. That lot in 1988 singing, if we do it right, we're going to get there. They didn't get there. So there you go. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful edition of What Just Happened. We'll be back same time, same place. Be there. What just happened?